Hey everybody, happy Wednesday! This is our first video after kind of coming out of a coma from many days of parks back to back to back, especially around Halloween Horror Nights. We were running a while there, probably a good string of days, where we were doing maybe 2 to 4 hours of sleep a night, combined with trying to do the YouTube thing, website thing, an actual work thing and regular life thing, and it was pretty killer, but we're back. I thought what we'd do today is at least just get a couple of updates on things and tie it some things that we referenced in other videos or things that we've missed along the way over the last week or so. I guess first things first, the Mets lost the World Series, so that was a great ride. Made me feel like I was living in New York again. In the 80s and their rise in the late 90s to the World Series with the Yankees. But they didn't get it done, and that's cool. The Royals were an amazing team this year. I'm happy for Ben Zobrist after watching him come close with the Rays a couple of times and not getting it done. So I'm happy that the Royals were able to win. And, you know, we'll see what happens with the Mets next year. And so Halloween Horror Nights is over. So there's a chunk of viewers that we have that I know that were like, God, enough with the Halloween Horror Nights. And there was a chunk of viewers that thanked us over and over again for covering it as much as we did. We didn't cover Halloween Horror Nights as much as we did this year in last year's videos, but came kind of close. I think mostly the reason why we kept going back this year was A, friends that we went to the event with, and then B, just an amazing time that we had. The event was just superb this year, and what I want to do is at least just thank everyone that we met along the way. We met a tremendous amount of viewers out at the event, both regular park guests as well as scare actors and management. And just wanted to thank everybody for making this experience so incredibly wonderful this year. Halloween Horror Nights was simply amazing, and I'm looking forward to next year's event. But we definitely had an amazing time this year. And the fact that stuff that we wrote out on our website, if you guys don't go to the website, it's viewfromthecheapseats.net. We had an incredible response in the parks from a lot of the folks that were working the event that said that they read the articles and looked at the pictures and things like that. So it was great to be able to kind of break that wall beyond what we see here and what you guys are seeing, and meeting up while we're actually in the park. It's hard to explain, I think, unless you're in that position, but really, really super cool to experience stuff like that. And so just on a, I don't want to say on a bummer note or a weird note, there's many times recently that I've thought about just folding the channel altogether or doing away with the channel. You know, at the end of the day, it's a lot of work to keep this up, and I know folks say in the comments, like, I don't know how you do it, or maybe you should try to scale back or things like that. You know, and the reality is I do work a regular day job that goes minimum 8 hours, more likely than not, more than 10 hours a day, and then try to put up videos and answer comments and, you know, bridge that gap with folks on a regular basis. I know we relax with comment responses there for a while, although all comments should be responded to at this point. And then you factor in that a few bad apples really do kind of ruin the bunch at times with negative comments, and we've had our share of negative comments or thumbs down. And then we have a stream of folks that really push us back over the top with positive comments. And I'm not looking to fish for comments here, so you don't need to leave comments below and say you guys are awesome or things like that. I do appreciate all the kind sentiments that folks say on a routine basis, but totally not necessary. But it has been that type of feedback in the past, whether it's in the comments or even more so when we're out in the parks, that really helps keep us going. You know, when we were most considering just trying to either scale back or you know, what do we want to do with the channel, meeting folks in the park and talking to them over the course of Halloween Horror Nights both made us want to continue to keep going back to that event, as well as continue to keep with the channel. And I know folks say, like, we've come a long way overnight, and believe me, it may seem to some folks that it's overnight, but when you do a video almost every single day for the better part of the last 18 months or so, and we are at you know, roughly 7,600 subscribers at this point, and folks say you're doing great, and then the other folks say you should be doing a lot better. You know, at the beginning of the year, we have one of our YouTube friends, Michael Warbuck, say, you know, the success that you guys have had is fantastic, great, you know, look up for this year. And I remember responding specifically that my goal for this year was to try to hit 20,000 subscribers, and we're nowhere even close. So I think that it was an unrealistic goal for myself. But you do have others that start channels that just blow up very quickly. I don't think that we've been an overnight thing by any means, but we certainly appreciate every subscriber, every view, every comment, and every person that comes up to us, very, very much so. So I guess, long story short, what I'm saying is I don't know when we'd have an end date for the channel. I don't project that we'll have one anytime soon, but it's just something that I think probably most YouTubers think about. And that said, in related news, YouTube introduced YouTube Red over the last week or so, or 2 weeks. And for those that don't know what YouTube Red is yet, if you haven't seen it on your splash pages or seen it on the web, YouTube Red is YouTube on a paid monthly subscription service. This is nothing that I would ever recommend folks to sign up for. Essentially what YouTube Red does is get you YouTube content without ads or commercials. So if you can't wait those 5 seconds to click skip ad before video, then YouTube Red is perfect for you. YouTube Red also gives you access to the Google Music library, although I'm not sure like how many times people are subscribing to just Google Music as opposed to maybe the Apple Music or Spotify or things like that. What YouTube Red means for creators, at least the way that I'm understanding this at this point, is that if we do not subscribe to YouTube Red, our videos no longer pop up as recommended videos for folks in the sidebar or in searches for content on YouTube. And this is problematic for folks like us as a smaller channel because we have Google presents a myriad of really awesome analytics to channels on a regular basis. And what we can see from our analytics, our metrics, is that 25% of our views come from subscribers. And the other 75% of our views are basically from casual folks that have stumbled across our videos. So when we're thanking folks for subscribing, it's because you are getting a little notification on a regular basis that there's a new video out there. And you guys can choose to view it whenever you want to watch it or not. If you don't subscribe, it's kind of that we're hoping that folks come back and they just happen to put in the search box that you know, look for cheap seats or look for Universal or Disney and stuff like that, and oh, there's that guy. What this means for us now is that if we do not pop up in our searches, because 25% of our views are only from subscribers and 75% are related to searches and recommended videos, we're going to lose a very big chunk of our audience because we're not subscribing to YouTube Red ourselves. And it's not that I don't have $10 a month to subscribe to the service. I just don't think that it's a viable model, because I think that if you've been giving something away for free for as many years as you have, there's not that much of a get for people to do, and you kind of feel like I'm being strong-armed into having to subscribe to the service. And another related note to that is that you know, as creators for YouTube, most of our revenue, because we do make money off of videos, I know folks always ask how does that happen. It's typically driven by the ads that you see either before the video or on the sidebar or things like that. Without them, our revenue from like a Red type service would also greatly go down. And it's not like YouTube folks make a ton of money either, because I think that's the perception. You know, folks like Tyler Oakley and some of the bigger guys out there, they make a lot of money based off of YouTube. Folks like us, we were getting 1,000 to 2,000 views per video. That's not happening. We might get beer money or money to go out to eat at the end of the week. But enough boring stuff, right? Let's talk about park stuff for a minute. We did the Halloween Horror Nights Legendary Truth thing last week. We did it on Friday. Folks have consistently asked, what is Legendary Truth? And folks that we've explained, you know, go to the Inside the Magic, had a video that explained in detail what Legendary Truth was for last year. The very short Reader's Digest answer is Legendary Truth is typically like an additional added content to the event that happens during the last week or weeks of Halloween Horror Nights. Last year and this year it involved extra storyline content, but more so what Universal is looking to do is test out new technology. And they test out new technology with folks that have volunteered. They sign a non-disclosure agreement, so I cannot talk about the technology at all. No matter how many times folks want to ask, what did you use, or things like that, I cannot talk about that. Again, Inside the Magic last year filmed some of the technology that was used last year. I cannot do that if I ever want to go back to Universal Studios again. That said, the story, at least a very, very quick summary of the story that we saw this year was basically centered around the fact of the icons that were at the event this year. And this is heavy on spoilers, so if you guys don't want to listen, skip ahead. The icons were dead, basically. We saw them dead, at least perceived to be dead, in some type of body bag type of thing. And then we also visited a location that further alluded to who may have killed the icons. And clues along the way indicated that perhaps fear was involved, and clues at the end involved perhaps Bloody Mary making an appearance back. Whether that comes to fruition for next year's Halloween Horror Nights or not is yet to be determined. I think that typically they throw these things out there as a red herring, but it's just extra storyline for folks that are really sucked into Halloween Horror Nights and they want something more than the content that was already provided through the general event. And the video that we posted Saturday for Friday had a bunch of the evidence, pictures that we were allowed to take, and indicated that we were allowed to share with folks that we came across, and it's heavily marked up with Bloody Mary type references and fear type references as well. One other thing that folks have asked about on Sunday when we were leaving or getting ready to leave, as the usher was coming off the stage, he had written in blood on his window, "See you at 26." And folks either are cheering or asking, is that true? I think that that's more or less the actor saying "see you at 26." Maybe he'll be in a different capacity or not. I know folks would definitely like to see the usher character back. I'd love to see that actor back altogether. I think that he was the best that Halloween Horror Nights had this year. But I don't take anything as gospel, whether it's Legendary Truth or the stuff that the scare actors do on the last night. What I would expect to see for Halloween Horror Nights next year is probably a lot of the ticket packages that they've had over the years, like Frequent Fear or Rush of Fear and things like that with multi-date tickets. Probably either going away or changing very dramatically, so that it limits the amount of folks that are returning to the park on a frequent basis and kind of driving more single-day sales to the event. In Disney-related stuff, the Osborne lights, I know we went the other day to Hollywood Studios on Saturday for a quick spin, and we saw all the lights that were up. They went into previews on Sunday. I think that we'll get over to Osborne probably sometime this weekend to video the lights. And then Mickey's Christmas party, I believe, starts next week as well. And then we'll soon see that Christmas will be in full swing in all of the parks shortly. Some of them typically wait till the end of like November to get going around Thanksgiving time. On that note, I'm going to wrap for the day. And thanks for listening to me ramble on and on. So thank you for all of your likes. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your subscriptions. Treat others the way you want to be treated. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks. It's me. It's a Mario. He's already here before Nintendo Land comes. That's impressive. Way to go, Universal. So this is our first time not staying for Stay and Scream. We're actually going home because it's Halloween and we don't have tickets for tonight. But look at everybody outside waiting to get in. It's like a zombie apocalypse. Guy back there gave us the finger outside the gates. But anyway, look at all of these people. These are all the people that made it through metal detector so far. Let's go outside and see how many people are waiting for the metal detector. So actually, here's the crowd outside waiting to go through the metal detectors. Really not a whole lot of anybody, I think because it's Halloween. This area that's all boarded up now is boarded up because NBA City is being torn down. And the big guy outside, Logo Man, is gone, and the walls are up so that they could rip the rest of it out and rebuild for whatever's replacing it, which hasn't been announced yet.